Summer vacation is over and back to school or work season is here. And while it can be super exciting for some, it can also bring the necessary stress with it, especially for people on the autism spectrum. So today I am sharing some tips with you to keep the stress levels down and make the most out of this back to school season, or honestly, any back to school or work season, whether you are on the spectrum or not. Growing up, most of my school-related nightmares, quite literally, were about me not being on time or me not knowing where to be, resulting in me not being in time. That stress that brought with it, not good. So my first tip, super simple, but it's just to know where to be. So in case you are moving to a new school or a new location, make sure you know how to get there. Make sure you know the route. For me, it usually meant practicing the route a few times before it actually was time to go to school. I know this is not necessarily a normal thing for most people to do, but it is so helpful, especially if you are on the spectrum, and that predictability, just knowing where to go and how to get there, is really important for you, which for me it definitely is. So just practicing that route a few times before you actually need to be there can be so insanely helpful. And also with that comes knowing where to be in the building. I've always gone to relatively small schools, so for me that never was much of a problem. But if you are in a bigger school, see if there's a way for you to already kind of get a feel for the layout of the building and a feel for where you need to be and how much time you maybe have to get from one classroom or room in general to the other. Knowing this can really help you to keep the stress down and just make the whole experience so much nicer and so much smoother. Also kind of related in being in time and not needing to stress about it, which for me is a very big thing still, even out of school, now in my work life or just in general. I think respecting people's time is so important, and that doesn't just mean respecting your teacher's time, but also the time of your other students. Because by being too late, you're not respecting their time or your own time, honestly. So related to that is packing your bag the night before. This, again, is something that has been talked about before. It is nothing new, but it is so helpful to do. So just checking your schedule, checking what you may need the following day, and just packing your bag, maybe getting your lunch ready, getting any books or whatever you need ready, and just make sure your bag is all ready to go in the morning. This means that you're going to have a much nicer, calmer morning, which in turn is going to help you to have a much nicer start of the day. And usually having a nice start of your day is kind of going to roll forward into the rest of your day. So do yourself a favor and get that bag ready the night before. My dog is snoring, so I'm not sure how well you can hear it, but I hope it's not too distracting. She's kind of cute actually when she snores. Let's kind of keep going on the time management role that we're on. Use your planner. It's so generic, but it is so helpful. Use that pretty planner you got. Whether you use a paper planner like me, I personally love my bullet journal. I'll have a link for you up in the cards of a video in case you want to check my bullet journal layout out. But use your planner. Planners are not there for nothing. Use them. I would highly recommend that you set up your planner, whether it's digital or paper, really doesn't matter. Just use a system that works for you, but set it up right at the start of the school year or work or whatever. Or if you haven't, just do it right now, doesn't matter. But set it up as far in advance as you can possibly do. So as soon as you maybe know any holidays, any deadlines, whatever comes up, put them in that planner, and this is going to help you stay organized for the rest of the year. It is going to set you up for success for the rest of the year. So really, as soon as something comes up, put it in the planner. Do yourself a favor, put it in the planner, and also don't forget to check the planner actually. Or if you do forget to check the planner, maybe use a digital planner and set reminders so you cannot forget. So any deadlines, any exams, any holidays, put them in as soon as you know of them. And then also add in when you're actually going to work on them. So I know a lot of people use their planner just to set up any deadlines or appointments, anything, which very good idea to do that, because that's going to help you actually be there when you need to be there. But also make sure that you add into your planner when you are planning to work on certain things. When are you planning to learn for that exam? How much are you going to work on that every day? And also, how much work are you going to be doing for a certain project? Make sure to plan that out in your planner, so that the only thing that you have to do is just check your planner, see, oh, I'm going to be doing this right now. Okay, let's work on that, and then I'm good for the day. So don't keep pushing it up in front of you. If you have any deadlines, just make sure that you are actually planning out when to work on those deadlines in advance, so you actually are done in time. And this obviously is something that's going to be easier and easier for you as you do this more often, because you just know how much time you are going to need for something. But this is something that's helped me so much. And I'll be honest, for us, even starting from like I think age 8 or something, this is something that kind of was implemented in our school system, the schools that I went to. We had some free tasks that we could kind of plan when to do them on our own. So I kind of grew up using similar systems. But if you didn't, start trying it out. Start trying to figure things out this way, because it can really help you. With that also comes having a bit of a project planning situation for yourself. So if you have a bigger project or a bigger exam to learn for, this is something that I would always do. Make an overview for yourself of everything that you need to do, or everything that you need to learn, every page you need to read, whatever it is for you. Just make an overview so you have it on one page preferably, so it's just nice and easy to see at a glance. And then make a way for you to cross things off as you go, to check things off as you go, so you can really keep track of how well you are doing on that project, how well you are being able to meet your own deadlines, because school shouldn't be the only one giving you deadlines. You should give yourself some deadlines as well, so you can actually plan in some free space, which is actually the next point. Also, make sure you don't overplan. In general, it's important to have some downtime, but I've noticed, especially for people on the spectrum, it can be so hard to find actually the time to really decompress from a busy work or school day or week, anything. And it's really easy to actually overplan. So really make sure you keep that blank calendar space in your planner as well. Whether that's some hours for yourself every day, or maybe an entire day for yourself every week, whatever it is. See what works for you and really make that a priority. Yes, school is very important, work is very important, but actually being able to keep going is even more important, or there's no you to go to school or work. So really make sure to prioritize having some rest in there as well. However fun other things can be, really make sure you plan that time to rest. Then some more specific tips for when you're actually at school. If you are someone that really likes to stim, again, I did a video on stimming, so I'll make sure to link it for you. You may know that not all stims are very acceptable, I guess, in school environments or the workplace. So figure out little stims for you that you are actually able to do, and that helps to calm you down, to help you concentrate. Something super useful for that can actually be little fidget toys. This gives you something to fidget with, something to basically replace your stim with, to help you focus, to help you calm down. And that is something that can be really useful, and it's actually kind of easy to take with you to school or work. There are some very discreet little fidget toys out there. You have fidget rings. Honestly, any ring with like some texture could work for this, but you have these really fun spinning rings which you can really easily fidget with, that are super non-obtrusive. Like, people are usually not even going to notice that they are there. Something else, especially if you like taking notes, maybe having a specific pen that you like to kind of play around with without clicking it, because clicking pens can be so annoying for the people around you. So maybe don't do that. I'll show you something. I like to write with fountain pens, not only because I love the way that they look and feel on the paper, which for me, I guess, It's a sensory sensation that I very much enjoy. That sounds very double. Sensory sensation? Anyway, it also gives me something to play with, because I like to choose fountain pens that I like the design of, that feel nice in my hands. For example, this, I'll zoom in. So this feels really nice in my hand. I also really enjoy little pocket pens. They are nice to hold. I especially like using a pen with some weight to it. So most of my pens are actually made out of metal, and this is brass, so definitely heavier. I'm not sure what the main material of this is. It's also a bit of a heavier pen. This specific one, I really like the feel of the clip of it. It just feels nice in my hand, so even just kind of rubbing it, having it in my hand really helps. Like, it's soothing for me. But also screwing and unscrewing the cap. Doesn't make a whole lot of noise, instead of like clicking, which does make noise, but it's really nice. Just playing with the cap while I'm writing anything, maybe even doodling. Doodling can be super helpful for some as well. Make sure it's not distracting for you though, if that's the case, because that is not going to be helpful at all for anyone. But that's something that can actually be really easy to use in school as kind of like a super non-obtrusive fidgeting toy. Having a pen that feels really nice in your hand, because you're likely gonna have a pen anyway to make notes, to do your work. So make sure you have something that really feels good for you to hold, maybe to play with, without it really being annoying or obtrusive to anyone else. So that's a great one. And again, rings can be really useful for that as well. Necklaces, again, something I've always worn, I've always kind of been playing with since I can remember. It's soothing for me. I make sure to have a pendant that I like the texture, the feel of, and that can be super nice as well. So a non-obtrusive fidgeting toy or alternative stim for you to use when you are in school can be so helpful. I think I'm just gonna keep this pen in my hand for the rest of the video. So you really get the idea here. It's really nice for me to hold these. You have no idea how often I've been either in school or at home doing anything, just holding my pens, playing with my pen in my hands, just because it feels nice, just because I like the feel of my pen in my hands, and just holding it and playing with it helps to calm me down. It's really easy and I highly recommend. I mean, I guess fountain pens you could call a bit of a special interest of mine, so may not be completely fair here, but highly recommend you find a pen you absolutely love, both in the look, the feel of it, the way it writes. It is going to make a really big difference. Also in how exciting you are to actually make notes. If you have a pen that you really enjoy using, you are gonna want to make more notes, and that is very helpful for helping to learn and remember things. So just a little side tip in there. And then the last one that I have for you is, if you are sensitive to noise, which I know a lot of people on the spectrum are, me included, it can be super helpful to have either like headphones or earplugs that you can use if you are experiencing a lot of noise around you and it's bothering you. Make sure you don't wear those when you're actually supposed to be listening to a teacher. It might mean that you're not able to hear the teacher as well, and it also doesn't look very respectful towards the teacher if you have something in your ears. Usually, if it's a really big deal for you, then maybe use little earplugs and communicate to your teacher that you are super sensitive to sound, and this actually helps you to listen to them better. Maybe they will understand. But in general, just having something of like an earplug or headphones or anything to help you kind of cancel out some of the noise can be super helpful, especially if you work in places that are more people, that people are talking and you really want to concentrate on something. Yeah, that's it. It can be super helpful for you. Just check with your school if they are actually okay with you using those. Then, kind of an extra bonus little tip. I actually asked on my community feed if there's anything that you guys were struggling with back to school related, and someone actually came back to me telling me that they are kind of struggling with not being liked by the others, possibly, whether that's teachers or students. Honestly, I've never really struggled with this as much because I was never really popular, but I was generally well liked in most of my school career. So I don't have a whole lot of great tips for this. The best thing that I can say is really just try to be yourself. Try to be yourself. Maybe that is very specific to the schools that I went to, that it was appreciated if you were yourself, and usually little unique quirks or kind of celebrated there. So I was probably really lucky in that sense. But also, the more you can keep close to yourself, the less of a serious mask you are wearing, the easier it is for you to keep it up and to stay genuine to yourself. I don't know if this is helpful at all. But I do think it's important to really try to do that as much as you can. There was something else that I wanted to say. What was it? Oh, yeah. Also, something that's going to go pretty far in case like this is don't say it if it's negative. If it's not going to add anything positive to a situation or conversation, just don't say it. If it's not adding any value, there's no need to say it. Like gossip, I know it can be something that kind of helps people to bond, but in general, it's not a very healthy relationship if it's built on gossip. So try to kind of keep out of that. If it doesn't add any value, don't add it to the conversation. In the end, if you are going to be gossiping a lot about other people, how big is the chance that those people that you're gossiping to are really going to be trusting you? Because who says that if you're gossiping with them, you're not also gossiping about them to someone else? Do you kind of get what I mean? So if it's not anything valuable to add, maybe consider not saying it out loud and not adding it at all. Really simple, but can make a big difference in at least not being not liked as much, I guess, by other people. So that is it. Those are the tips that I have for you today. Those are my back to school, back to work tips. I hope this was helpful for you at all. If so, give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos around the topic of intentional living, and also within this series of like the autism talks and the autism lifestyle tips, I guess. If you think this might be helpful for someone you know, make sure you share it with them. Also, that really helps my channel out a lot, so thank you so much if you do so. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!